64 Tacos Podcasts presents Is This Song Good? This is episode 17. Talking Heads, Take Me to the River.
All right, so we're back with another episode of Is This Song Good? Cover edition. We're doing Al Green's Take Me to the River and the cover by the Talking Heads. My guess is that for a lot of people who are not, 50 plus, the Talking Heads one is probably the one they've heard more often or more frequently, and that's true for me. And I really like that the Talking Heads one. It's one of my, my favorite songs when you're listening to the radio and it pops up and you're like, oh, I love this song. It's not, I'm not a huge Talking Heads fan, although I like them, but it's not like I've gone out and bought all their albums or, listened to them all the time, but I do like them. This is one of those songs that caught my attention before I knew much about them. And so I thought it'd be fun to spend time with the original, which I have done less of, and listen to the Al Green version. So yeah, that was my thought process. Why don't you guys go ahead and tell me what you think?
For me, I couldn't tell you which version I knew first. You're probably right. It was the Talking Heads. But when I listened to the Al Green version, I pulled it up first. It was so similar. I mean, obviously the little banter at the beginning, it was different, but it was so similar in musically to the Talking Heads version that I wasn't sure which version I had heard, and I like them both. But I think my only problem is that they are so similar, and I don't. It's strange to me that bands do this when they do covers of songs, when they pretty much do a note by note, instrument by instrument version of the song. And I know it's not identical. You can definitely tell the difference, but yeah, that was my biggest take, is that there was not much distinction between the two. That for me.
So my sister had a Talking Heads 2-disc compilation album, and so I basically grew up in my formative years on Talking Heads, listening to that with her. And so this song, yeah, I never knew that this was a cover, listening to it, and it was a long time until I discovered that. And I did listen to the Al Green version before. But it always was kind of like, meh, it just didn't really catch me in the same way that the Talking Heads version did. And so for me, it is kind of like the opposite of I know the cover version a lot better than the original version. And going back and listening to it in more depth, it just, there's something about the original version that it's fine. I like it. But it's very soft. It's like soft and peppy. At least that's the way it feels to me, and a little bit faster. And I think the biggest thing that really kind of puts me over the line on the Talking Heads version versus the Al Green version is the bass line, because it feels like the bass line is doing something radically different in the original version. And
I didn't hear that at all.
Tina Weymouth and the Talking Heads just took it in an opposite direction and nailed it. And so that really, plus all of like the sort of arpeggiated guitar.
Yep.
and along I was listening to that in more depth, like over and over again for this. And I'm like, that's also got the keyboard, the organ part in there as well. So it's almost like they're dueling the organ with the guitar at the same time. It's just crazy. It's like, it's hard to even separate, like, where does one instrument stop and the other one begin? Or do they, are they just kind of like merged together in some sort of sonic fashion? But yeah, for me, the Talking Heads one goes way beyond, just because that's what I grew up with, and that's what I know to be like the quintessential original. And so, doing this comparison, it feels like the Al Green one is just so foreign to me. So that's my take on it.
It's interesting. I guess I just don't have very much association with it, and they just kind of melded together for me.
Yeah. I don't entirely agree, Dave, that the cover is I don't know. To me, it doesn't sound. Yes, it's some similar melodies for sure, and I guess they both have organ. And it's. I mean, the Talking Heads song is a little slower and a lot longer, and there's more instrumental breaks. But I don't think of this as a by the numbers cover. And so, like, what's interesting to me is that it's almost like the Talking Heads, like a post punk, type of band from in New York with David Byrne as lead singer. Like they somehow managed to like out funk Al Green. It seems weird to me. That shouldn't be happening. And like you're right. It is Zach. You're right that it is the Al Green version is like softer and sort of more like gentle.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit lighter. It's a little bit shorter. I do love when the horns come in near the end. I think that's a really nice touch that the original has. But I love that little guitar solo thing, with a little like drag pick, percussive thing. And they even make the organ more prominent in the Talking Heads version, I think. And to me, it's not as different as the last one we talked about for sure. Like it's not like a completely different, genre or style, but there's no doubt about that. You're absolutely right. This is a lot closer, but it did. I didn't really think of it as being, boy, that's awfully similar. That didn't occur to me. And I enjoyed the Al Green version quite a bit, the original. But it's a little bit, sort of like more playful and sort of less like, impassioned, which is interesting. You associate that more with Al Green than you do with David Byrne, but somehow it becomes a sort of like kind of slightly epic, like weirdo, like, funk soul song when I don't know, it's odd to me that the Talking Heads managed to pull this off, because it sounds like a terrible idea if I step back and assume I've never heard it before. Like, oh yeah, let's cover an Al Green song, like it's kind of a soul funk, religious overtones sort of thing. It shouldn't work, but I think it works great, for sure. So yeah, if we're voting, my vote is this cover is good. In fact, it's better than the original.
Yeah, I would say that it is good. I don't think it's better though. I don't have a strong feeling for either of them. I think both versions are good songs. I would listen to them, but honestly, I don't know that I would put them on a playlist and put that CD in my car or whatnot. So,
all right.
So there's some interesting history I read on Wikipedia about this. So apparently, it was recorded in 1974, and the record company did not want to release the song as a single, and so then there was another artist by the name of Syl Johnson who recorded his own cover of it, which was almost exactly the same, just a little bit different vocal performance and added some harmonica. And then and he was on the same record label, and it was a lot of the same session musicians that did it. And then the record company released that as a single. So for some reason, the record company just did not feel like the song had the grit or the push for a single with the Al Green version.
Yeah.
And so it was almost like Al Green had, he wrote something that was magical, but it was just not even really for him,
Yeah. Did you listen to that version, the original, or the
I did.
The first release?
I did. Yep.
Yeah. Did you feel like there was more oomph? Because I think we all kind of agree that the original one, well, maybe Dave, you would say neither of them have a ton of oomph, but the original one's a little bit lighter and less sort of forceful.
Yes. Yeah. So I do. I mean, for me, both of them kind of they still don't elevate to the level that the Talking Heads did, because I listened to that so much. I
Yeah,
mean, I listened to that thing on repeat. But yeah, I do think the Syl Johnson one was just a tiny bit better than the Al Green one. But yeah, so for me, the vote is definitely going to be that it is a good song, and it's even like I would always take the Talking Heads version over the Al Green version or the Syl Johnson version. So yeah.
All right. Anybody have anything else they would like to add?
No.
Nope.
Dave's falling asleep because he hates both these songs.
I just didn't have strong feelings about.
Didn't have strong
feelings about this in either way.
That's interesting. Now you don't remember. You said you weren't sure which you'd heard first. I mean, my guess is probably you heard the Talking Heads one because it was on the radio,
probably
like LEV and stuff. And I don't know that I've ever heard the Al Green version on a radio station that we used to listen to. I'm sure I haven't heard it on that. But yeah, there was never a song that really caught your interest, huh?
No, not really.
Oh, interesting.
It
grabbed me from the beginning.
I wouldn't change the station if it comes on, but yeah, I didn't even thumbs up it on the old YouTube music. So
yeah, interesting. All right. Well, anyway, so that's 2 enthusiastic votes for the cover and 1 meh. They're both okay.
Yeah. So Zach, next week we're doing your song that you've picked, right?
Yep. So I picked Seven Nation Army. The original was by the White Stripes, and the cover version is by Ben L'Oncle Soul. So see you next week.
I caught it on audio.